From the 25, Roethlisberger pulls it back, throws, has Juju Smith-Schuster. What a start to the night. One play, bang, touchdown
Steelers. The Eagles take over at the 17. Foles steps up. Foles delivers. Deep one-on-one. It's caught. Aguilar. Bye-bye. Touchdown. Eagles.
steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs. Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable.
All right, everybody, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Heated Sports Football Podcast. So we are back yet again. It is week 10 here coming up starting tonight. Again, we're recording Thursday evening, so right before the Thursday night matchup, Raiders and Chargers. We're going to get into all that and the week 10 matchups, but first I want to recap a little bit on week 9. Some interesting matchups, a couple upsets that we both kind of predicted in last week's episode. So as you know, two of us are big AFC North fans. I'm a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Across from me, Kevin, big Baltimore guy. Both of our teams getting the win. So Pittsburgh upsets Indianapolis last week at home. Adam Vinatieri shanked field goal. Laces were in. A lot of speculation over that, but Pittsburgh still hung tough, even though Jacoby Brissett went down pretty early. Backup quarterback Brian Hoyer kind of stepped in, and he looked pretty good. I mean, if you protect any quarterback, they're going to have time to make some throws. That Colts offensive line is really good, so Brian Hoyer stepped in there, the veteran that he is, threw a couple touchdown passes, but Pittsburgh gets the win in the end. And more importantly, the Baltimore Ravens finally dethroning the New England Patriots in primetime last week at home in Baltimore. Ed Reed's ceremony at halftime, just all the stars were aligning for Baltimore to get this win, and they came out firing out of the gate, and they really didn't slow down the entire game. I mean, Lamar Jackson putting himself back into the MVP conversation, I think. Baltimore's for real. I don't think there's really any denying it after this week. You called the upset last week. Don't know if that was a little biased or if you firmly believe that. I'm sure you did. So, I mean, yeah, your reaction, you probably were going through the roof after that game was over. I mean, Baltimore's definitely is in people's conversations for, I think, Super Bowl contenders at this point. You have to.
Yeah, I love it. They look so good. Even the defense stepped up. They weren't leaving Brady all day to throw the ball. They were getting after him. So many blitzes. And the secondary played really well as well. Also, Earl Thomas had an interception. Just all around, the offense was electric. And the score ended up being closer than the game actually was. The Ravens should have won by even more points, in my opinion, because they had a couple stupid plays. They gave the Patriots exceptional field position, which they took advantage of.
Yeah, there's a couple stupid turnovers on both sides.
Punt return,
so
that made me very angry.
Mark Ingram had a fumble, I think, inside Patriots territory, or inside their own territory.
Mark Ingram,
New England the ball.
I can understand that. The punt return was unacceptable. So those couple little mistakes were the difference between this being a blowout and this being as close as it was. But yeah, Ravens, I think at this point you can't deny they're contender. And I love every second of it. I can't wait to see how far this team can go because it doesn't look like they're slowing down at all. As for your Steelers game, not too much I want to say there. All that I think it comes down to, Adam Vinatieri needs to hang up the cleats and retire. I think he's cost the Colts more than one game this season, I believe.
He had a missed extra point in that early in the game too, and that's not the first one. I think he has 3 or 4 missed extra points.
I don't know if they weren't
on top of a couple missed field goals as well. Yeah,
they weren't really game winners like this one was, but they were crucial, and I think he's the reason for a couple of these Colts losses. So Vinatieri needs to hang him up. The Colts, if Brissett comes back, I think they're still going to be all right. And yeah, good win for the Steelers. Kind of staying in the race here, which I'm sure you're happy about.
I mean, this win definitely saved their season, in my opinion. I'm not going to touch on the Steelers too much, but I mean, looking ahead at the schedule, just to kind of paint a picture here, they have the Rams coming to town this week. I don't expect them to win that game. We'll see. Brandon Cooks is injured. Todd Gurley hasn't looked great, so it's really kind of going to depend on if the Pittsburgh offense wants to show up. They've kind of been struggling the last couple of weeks. But as far as the remainder of their schedule, I mean, they play Cleveland twice. They play Cincinnati again. They play Buffalo, the New York Jets, and then Baltimore to close out the season. So me being the optimistic Steelers fan, probably a loss on Sunday against the Rams, but all of those other matchups I said I think they have a very solid chance of winning a lot of those games. Cleveland still looks terrible, losing to the Denver Broncos last week and to a rookie quarterback who's never thrown an NFL pass. Cleveland looks terrible. Cincinnati's not going to win a game. The Jets and Buffalo, I think, are definitely winnable games, and play Baltimore week 17. I think we can both agree Baltimore's probably going to have the division wrapped up by then. Most likely their playoff seeding as well by that point. I don't know if they'll get that first round bye. Patrick Mahomes comes back, so it's kind of hard to argue that Kansas City and New England won't get the bye, but Baltimore getting that win against New England could definitely help a potential tiebreaker situation. But regardless, definitely a chance Baltimore doesn't need to win that Week 17 matchup. So bench some of the starters. Maybe Lamar doesn't play. Pittsburgh can maybe squeak out a win in Week 17 and sneak into the playoffs. I mean,
I don't know. RG3 is still going to be dangerous.
RG3 would get.
I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, RG3 potentially could, but I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic. I definitely think there's a shot. I'm not giving up hope on the season, but I mean, after starting 1-3, Big Ben going down, I definitely like where Pittsburgh's at right now. But yeah, I mean, the offense definitely needs to step up. I think Mason Rudolph needs to be a little more confident, and the coaching staff needs to be confident in him. Allow him to throw the ball, go down, just hang out in the pocket and find the open man a little bit longer instead of all the dinks and dunks to Jalen Samuels and James Conner and the running backs. But
dude, I'm still so happy about that game. I think Harbaugh proved he's like one of the elite coaches in the game today.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Like you said, Lamar Jackson, he put himself back in the MVP race. I don't think he's going to be able to win it because I think just quarterbacks are playing better than him, far less like the McCaffreys and other players. But he's definitely in there. Love to see it. Great guy. And great time to be a Ravens fan.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, yeah, definitely a couple AFC North teams in the mix come playoff time. So
we get to play the Bengals next week.
Yeah. Nice game. Big Ryan Finley getting the start. You worried at all?
No. I was a little bit worried when AJ Green was possibly coming back because he kind of owns the Ravens defense.
He's like a mismatch for the secondary for sure.
The Ravens defense kind of just never stops AJ Green, but yeah, now that AJ Green's not playing, zero chance for the Bengals.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into AJ Green. Not a big fan of AJ Green, that I'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, so again, couple AFC North teams. We got the upsets right last week, so yeah, looking good at least for the next couple weeks. I think for Baltimore, they're definitely in good shape to probably take care of the division. Pittsburgh maybe has a chance at a wild card, but I want to transition here a little bit now, looking at some other Week 9 matchups. I've already mentioned the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes coming back this week. The Chiefs haven't really missed a beat. I mean, Matt Moore, not even in the NFL come preseason, gets the backup job in Kansas City, and now he's kind of still winning football games. They beat the Vikings, who I think Minnesota is a very talented team this year.
For sure.
Beat the Vikings at home. Harrison Butker, I think, had 3 or 4 field goals, so not a lot of touchdowns by Matt Moore. I think he had 1 to Tyreek Hill. But and then yeah, Damian Williams had that long 91-yard touchdown run, I think. So a couple of touchdowns, but a lot of field goals. But Matt Moore's winning them games and keeping them right in the hunt. So I think they're still in the lead of that division by a game or two. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes back. I mean, Kansas City's gonna be hanging around. They're not going anywhere, and I think Mahomes is. I think now he's 100%, which is why he didn't play against Minnesota. I think they just wanted to make sure that he was good to go, make sure that he's 100%, try to avoid aggravating the injury again. So, yeah, I mean, Mahomes is back. Kansas City.
Damian Williams looked strong in that game, too. Yeah. That would be big if they can get him and the running game going, because that's been kind of a missing part of that offense.
Yeah, it's been kind of tough to try to figure out who's the lead back in that offense. I mean, obviously, LaShawn McCoy stepped in, I would say pretty well. I don't think he exploded or anything, but now you got 2 kind of average, slightly above average guys in there trying to figure out who's going to get the bulk of the carries every week. But yeah, I mean, if Damian Williams can kind of get back to last year's form, the offense is going to be pretty hard to stop. So
yeah, I mean, now it is going to be tough in that AFC race, but you can never count them out once they have Mahomes back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was kind of always who's going to be that third team in the AFC. So I mean, you have New England and Kansas City still in pretty good shape, but I mean, I definitely think the Ravens kind of put themselves in the
Baltimore
conversation
and Texas
as that clear third team in the AFC. Houston's in there as well, but Houston's been so up and down. I mean, they just need to protect Deshaun Watson, and they really didn't do a good job of it last week in the London game against Jacksonville. Still handled Jacksonville very easily. Gardner Minshew did not look very well, ultimately losing his starting job. Nick Foles is going to be back in a week after their bye.
It's interesting. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so that's something else we'll get into in a little bit as well when we go over some injuries and some new roster moves here coming up. But one other matchup I want to kind of go over, one that kind of surprised a lot of people. Actually, I'm looking here. So yeah, Denver ended up beating Cleveland. So yeah,
unreal.
Just when you think Cleveland can maybe turn things around, playing a first a guy making his first start for Denver.
The Denver team's bad. This is a bad team.
Yeah, Denver is not good whatsoever, and I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name right now, so I need to.
It's another Allen.
Brandon Allen.
Allen.
Yeah, Brandon Allen. So Brandon Allen getting his first first career start in the NFL. Had a nice touchdown pass to Cortland Sutton. He was sitting on my fantasy
75-yarder?
bench, but yeah. So I mean, he didn't do too bad.
No, to Noah Fant. That was the 75.
Yeah, yeah. He had the long Noah Fant touchdown as well. So yeah, threw a couple of touchdown passes. But
Baker Mayfield again getting the criticism.
Yeah, like definitely a game that
I love
Cleveland
it.
should
I love it.
have walked away with a win regardless. So it's I mean, I want to feel bad like for Cleveland fans. Like this was the year they had the hope,
Don't feel
getting
bad.
Super Bowl hype, but like I just really don't, because like it was just hilarious to see everybody hyping up Cleveland. And even like Cleveland fans, Super Bowl bound, this, that, and the other. And I think we both agreed before the season started, we really weren't like into the hype. We thought maybe like a wild card
Yeah, I
team
said wild
potentially,
card.
but like we didn't think this team was going to be a like Super Bowl contender this year.
Hey, at least they get Kareem Hunt coming back. Woo.
Yeah, so
That'll fix it all.
Kareem Hunt's going to come back. Head coach Freddie Kitchens says he's going to have a role right away, so that's maybe something to look forward to for Cleveland fans. But
I don't think Kitchens is going to finish out the year.
you don't think so?
No, I don't.
I think I was literally just going to say I think he's gone after the year's over.
I don't think he makes it.
I don't know if they do a midseason fire, but I mean, yeah, sounds like we're both in agreement that he's gone.
Yeah, reports have been saying that it's pretty certain within the Browns organization that he's done after this season. But yeah, I'm just guessing. I don't think things are going to get better, and I think they're going to make a switch before the season even ends.
Yeah. One last thing here before we transition. You worried about the Packers at all? Kind of getting slacked by the LA Chargers. Melvin Gordon kind of coming back to form, running all over the place. Had a touchdown or two. Are you worried about Green Bay, or you think they kind of needed this and they're going to be right back to where they're at next week?
I don't know. This was such an interesting game, just seeing them kind of hold Aaron Rodgers to what they did in this season after he's been playing so well in the Chargers
He was like top
of anyone.
MVP candidate,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion before that game. And now, I mean, Russell Wilson just completely blew him out of the water.
Shut off the run game, shut off Rodgers, and they were scoring on the defense. And it's the Chargers, a team just a week or two ago we were panicking on.
Defense is terrible. Like,
We were
the defense
panicking
is
on the
not
Chargers.
good. Yeah, I mean, I'm still not a firm believer in the Chargers, but regardless,
I am a firm believer in Aaron Rodgers, so Packers are almost certainly going to bounce back from this one. But yeah, this is kind of, I don't know. Packers are a little bit vulnerable now.
yeah. I mean, they have the Panthers at home this week, so I mean, home field in Lambeau definitely helps any game for the Packers, but definitely not a gimme game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers kind of bounces back this week. But yeah, so I mean, that's really all we got about week 9. Definitely an exciting week. Some pretty awesome like upsets, especially for the two of us, since our teams were involved in those upsets. So pretty cool to see. But now I want to transition here real quick, go over some injuries. So whether you're just a fan of the NFL, whether you're invested in fantasy football like the two of us are, some pretty big names kind of on the injury report this week. Some serious and some not so serious. So
Most of them are on my fantasy team.
I'm just going to go over some names. I have some unfortunate ones as well. So just some big names that are going to be playing this week. So Patrick Mahomes looks like he's going to be back. As of today, Thursday, he practiced fully. Don't even think he was listed on the injury report for Kansas City. So again, I think he probably could have like gone last week. If it was like a crucial game last week against Minnesota, I think he could have played. They held him out. Want to make sure he's 100%. Sounds like he is now, so he's going to be good to go this week against the Titans. Another big name, Le'Veon Bell. Not like a huge like MVP candidate, like putting up McCaffrey type numbers this year, or just Le'Veon Bell numbers like we kind of know him to be, but still having an impact for the Jets. And most fantasy owners, you're most likely playing Le'Veon Bell every week. He's kind of had a lingering injury this past week. He got an MRI, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, but it looks like he's going to be good to go. Limited participant in practice. Yeah,
Le'Veon Bell on my fantasy team. He's got a sore knee. But it looks like he's going to be fine. He's going up against the Giants, so great matchup for him. I'm hoping for a bounce back so then I can trade him right after it because I just don't trust the Jets offense anymore.
Not at all.
And Alvin Kamara, good news. He's coming back,
he's back
hopefully.
as well.
He's also on my fantasy team.
Thinking about trying to trade for him before the deadline this week, but
I think I'm having a rough season, but I think Kamara might have a huge impact on this Saints offense going forward. So
they play the Falcons, who are just absolutely terrible in the defense. So
fingers crossed he can turn my season around.
Yeah, so good game for Kamara there as well. Another big name.
First week since week 2 that Breeze, Kamara, and Mike Thomas are on the field together. So Saints are a threat for sure, and they're only getting better at this point.
Absolutely. So still my Super Bowl pick. The Saints are going to destroy the Falcons this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just some other names, maybe some more significant names, or not like significant names. They're still big names, but maybe more significant injuries. So T.Y. Hilton's still going to be out again. Has that, I think, ankle injury, or I'm not sure. I think it's an ankle or a knee injury. I'm about to look it up here, but
yeah.
They said last week he missed that Steelers game, the game against the Steelers last week, but going to be out 3 to 4 weeks, so he's not going to be back anytime soon. definitely kind of frustrating for fantasy owners because I feel like, can you put T.Y. Hilton in like the injury-prone category now? I feel like this guy's been injured more times than not the last couple years, so I'm really not too sure. Like, I'm really not sure if you can trust him. I mean, I kind of I'd really avoided him in fantasy. Not that I don't trust him, but I mean, especially after Andrew Luck retired, like I really didn't know what Brissett was going to do. But in the back of my mind, he has kind of had some lingering injuries the last couple of years. So
I wouldn't argue with that if you called him injury prone. It's kind of weird too because at least I can't remember any season-ending injuries that he suffered.
No,
it's just all these little things,
lingering minor injuries,
nagging injuries, always coming to get him because he's a little guy and he plays hard. He gets tackled, he gets hit, and his body just kind of hurts from it.
So it's a calf injury, actually. So I did kind of have the right area down there, but not a knee or an ankle. It's a calf injury that he suffered in practice a few weeks ago. So still going to be sidelined this week. They said potential return next week, but obviously we really don't know right now. Another receiver kind of staying in that category. So I have two more receivers here. Adam Thielen, kind of questionable to return in last week. Didn't end up coming back after he re-aggravated his injury. And, so it looks like he's kind of questionable for this week as well. So he re-aggravated his hamstring injury. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be back this week either. So kind of a big blow, I would say, for the Vikings offense. I mean, they've obviously relied on Dalvin Cook a lot. They still have Stephon Diggs there, but I'd say Adam Thielen's their number one receiver. I like him more than Diggs. I think he's a little more talented, putting up better numbers. So definitely going to be kind of
a little more reliable.
Yeah, a missing piece for that Vikings offense here coming up this week. So yeah, I mean, anything to say about Adam Thielen or?
Not really. I mean, we saw AJ Green. He was looking to come back this week. We talked about it, but I mean, who knows when he's going to come back at this point? Just re-aggravating again and again. And also George Kittle, kind of a really important piece on the undefeated Niners. He's also going through a knee injury.
Yeah, he got banged up,
fantasy team.
Banged up early in that Thursday night matchup last week against Arizona. So yeah, definitely kind of worried some fantasy owners there. But he did end up finishing the game. I think he had a touchdown as well. So I mean, still kind of putting up the numbers, but
he's such a beast.
They had an extra long week, so they had played last Thursday night, and now they're playing this Monday night. So pretty much as long of a week as you can get in between games without having a bye week there. So I think George Kittle's going to be good. Again, Adam Thielen looks like he's questionable. Big matchup, though, against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas this Sunday night. So that's definitely a game they could use Adam Thielen, but it doesn't look like he's going to be there. And then one final one I just want to touch on as well. You said AJ Green. Very disappointing. Not a big fan of AJ Green this year. I've been stashing him in literally like 3 of my fantasy leagues. Drafted him in all 3, and I don't even know if he's going to play all this season at this point. Finally back to practice this week after the bye. Everyone was optimistic that he's going to practice fully. He's good. He's good to go. He's going to play in the game against Baltimore for Ryan Finley's first start. And now it's not going to happen. He practices for like 2 minutes, it seems like, and then re-aggravated the injury. Now he's going to be out this week and maybe the rest of the season, like we said. We just don't know.
It's going to be, you guys are going to be 0-10. Like, I don't know. Is he going to be that motivated to come play for this defeated team?
They just should have traded him.
I don't know. I think in their head they're thinking they're gonna get a quarterback either from the draft or from free agency, and they're gonna need him for their new quarterback just to give him a fair shot.
After seeing Miami get their first win, Cincinnati has the sole possession of the number 1 pick right now, so maybe that's in the back of their minds. Hey, we're the only team that doesn't have a win. We can secure the tank and get this number 1 pick now. Don't have to worry about other teams and what they're doing. Let's just sit AJ Green, make sure he's fully healthy for next season when we get our guy, and just play for the draft pick at this point. It sucks. It's not fun, I'm sure, for Bengals fans, but just think it Tua, man. Just watch Alabama this season, and you'll be thankful.
I'm shocked Miami got a win before Cincinnati did. But yeah, come time when they have their new quarterback, they're going to want weapons, so there's no excuses. They can find out if he's good or not.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, in hindsight, what's 1 or 2 wins going to do? Like, yes, it might be fun for those couple hours to watch your team get the win, but those 1 or 2 wins will definitely be the difference between getting potentially the top player in the draft, or just maybe the 3rd or 4th player in the draft, best player in the draft.
Dolphins went from 1 to 4 or 5 with their wins.
There's so many teams with with only 1 win. So I mean,
I think they would be at 5 if the season ended today.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of teams that are kind of, I think, eyeing the draft more more this year than ever, just with all the prime quarterbacks. Again, I've kind of touched on this. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but a lot of great quarterback prospects in this draft. Teams like Washington, they might not be sold on Dwayne Haskins yet. He really hasn't been playing too well in his last start. I think he's getting the start again this week as well. But yeah, you have Washington in there, the Jets, you have Miami. Holy crap.
Bengals,
Miami and Cincinnati as well. So I mean, a lot of those teams could be eyeing up those quarterback prospects, or even just trading the picks away to other teams and maybe have a few more wins. So either way, those picks are going to be valuable whether they're going for a quarterback or not. So I don't hate it. I'm never going to support tanking in the NFL, even if people want to deny it. It's definitely happening, I would say, for at least a couple of these teams. Maybe not all of them I just mentioned, but at least some of them. But yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, because yeah. So what if the Bengals beat the Ravens this week and get their first win? Like, it's not going to do anything for their season.
Yeah, I mean, just thankful that they're in our division. We get 2 free wins this year.
Exactly.
I was kind of scared of the Bengals. I thought they were going to be, I mean, not a bad team like this, but
that offense on paper, like Andy Dalton, he was top 5 in passing yards this year before they benched him on his birthday. So sorry about that, Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, assuming he was healthy. It was supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks, all my draft research for fantasy, 4 to 6 weeks, and he'll be back 100%. Here we are, week 10. Might not even be playing at all this season. So
it's tough.
Definitely not a good look. But I mean, Joe Mixon hasn't panned out whatsoever. The offensive line's crazy banged up. So just not a good year overall for Cincinnati. Just time to look forward to Tua or whatever quarterback they go after in the draft, I think. So, anything else to say? Any other injuries? We kind of touched on all the ones that I had listed.
Yeah, I think
as far as
it.
like potential like fantasy stars, like a lot of these like big names that are kind of potentially not going to play this week. But again, looks like guys like Mahomes and Le'Veon are going to be in there. So
yeah, my 2 starting running backs are in question. So I'm just hoping they pull through, get healthy, boys.
For sure. So yeah, let's transition now. So just going to kind of go over some stuff like we normally do. Week 10 now, looking ahead to the all the matchups that are coming up here this week. So again, the Thursday night game will be over when this goes live. So Chargers at the Raiders. We've talked about the Raiders a little bit in previous episodes. I like the Raiders a lot. Big fan of Josh Jacobs. Darren Waller's kind of emerged as the top tight end in the league. What do you think? I mean, what do you think of this matchup? The Chargers, again, pulling off that pretty like impressive win against the Packers last week. Do you think they pull off like 2 in a row here, or do the Raiders stay hot? Because they just beat the Lions last week, which I thought was an impressive win too. So.
You know what? I think the Chargers pull off 2 in a row. I have a little bit more faith in Phillip Rivers than I do Derek Carr, and Melvin Gordon is back at it. He's looking good. I think Josh Jacobs was dealing with another injury as well, but he's going to play, but you never know. Could be a factor in this game. I just think the Chargers, especially after that win at Green Bay, they're kind of figuring their team out. They're looking to get back on track here, and pretty much just comes back down to quarterback play mostly for why I'm picking the Chargers over the Raiders. But should be a good divisional matchup, probably close.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the Chargers have a little bit more talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a good game, even like as far as like the standings are concerned. Because okay, hypothetically looking at the playoff like potential right now, the Chargers aren't out of it by any means. So I mean, I think they're 1 game back of the Raiders. Again, a divisional game like you mentioned as well. So definitely like a good matchup. Even like looking forward and trying to look ahead for a potential wild card spot there for these 2 teams. So definitely one I'm excited to watch. I have Josh Jacobs in a lot of leagues. I love the kid. Probably going to be a keeper in one of my leagues just with the potential that I've kind of seen. He's been running all over the place. 2 touchdowns last week. So
it's really hard to tell. Like both these teams have been up and down all season. Especially recently, we've seen some things we didn't expect. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what version of each of these teams we get.
Yeah, for sure. So want to transition here. So kind of just like going through the matchups here. We talked about Jets Giants. Like I don't really think anything's gonna happen there. I mean, go Giants, I guess. Like that'd probably be my pick, but not a real thrilling matchup there in the battle for New York or New Jersey. Yeah, Ravens Bengals, another divisional game, nothing there. Bears Lions. Can we talk about the Bears? I want to talk about the Bears.
Dude, I hyped up. I was all about the Bears going into the season.
I had the Bears in. I think I had them in my NFC Championship game, losing to the Saints. I figured a combination of that ridiculous defense. I thought Trubisky was going to take that next step in the offense. They had some weapons there with David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, Allen Robinson, even Trey Burton. I don't hate Trey Burton as a tight end.
So disappointing.
But Mitch Trubisky looks terrible. So if we're going to talk about teams potentially trading up to snag a new quarterback in this year's stacked draft, I think the Bears are going to be a front runner trying to go after it.
They have to. They're wasting this talented defense.
I don't know what their draft pick situation is for 2020. Holy crap, it's 2020. But yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if the Bears kind of went all in and snagged one of these top quarterback prospects, because I think it's pretty clear. Again, season's not over yet. Who knows? Trubisky could maybe turn it around, but I don't think anybody's expecting that. Trubisky's not the guy. I mean, it's a shame that they traded up and drafted him earlier. I think, he was first overall, right? Second behind Myles Garrett that year, yeah.
They'll never hear the end of that.
Yeah.
Especially with the talented quarterbacks that went later.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen the
legends.
memes. You've seen the pictures on social media. Mahomes and Watson getting taken after Trubisky. So the Bears passing on some potential MVP-type caliber quarterbacks for Mitch Trubisky, who just looks terrible.
Here's what sorry, what?
No, I was just going to keep crapping on Mitch Trubisky, so go ahead.
All right, here's what I think, though. The draft, I don't think, is where the Bears are going to look for their next quarterback. I think almost certainly if they do go away from Mitch Trubisky, which if they're smart, they will because their defense is insane, they're going to get a free agency. Teddy B is a future Bear.
Ooh, okay.
Cam Newton, in my mind, would be
that's what I thought you were going to say.
Would be the perfect option, but I don't see it. I think he's going to be a little more expensive. Not
to get too off topics. Do you think Cam Newton's done in Carolina?
He's played his last game for Carolina,
so
I believe.
Put on IR, so Kyle Allen's going to be the starter the rest of the year. Cam Newton, okay, technically he's on IR. He could come back in the playoffs if Carolina would make the playoffs. They're kind of in the hunt for that last wild card spot in the NFC. Don't really think Carolina's going to make the postseason, but even if they do, Cam's definitely not going to come back.
I think they will.
The playoffs. You think so?
Yeah, I think they're definitely a postseason team. Yeah. How far they'll be able to make it with a young quarterback like Allen, I'm not sure, but I do think they're going to make the playoffs, and I do also think Cam Newton's played his last game as a Panther. But yeah, I'm calling it right now. Teddy Bridgewater will be the quarterback of the Bears next year. I think they have to go veteran because their defense is all in their prime. They're great, and they're kind of in win-now mode. They have everything except a quarterback.
It's kind of tough. I mean, a lot of people have been crapping on the defense as well, but I'm kind of going to give the defense a pass. Still have the elite talent. Khalil Mack's I don't think he's playing like he did last season, but he's still playing very well to kind of lead that defense. But the defense is just on the field the entire game. No defense is going to perform like to the Bears' expectations when they're on the field for like 2/3, 3/4 of the game, because that offense literally, they had -2 passing yards in the first half against Philly last week.
Yeah, I watched that game. That was one of the most unbelievable things.
I think they had 1 first down, and it was on like the first drive. Like the offense just literally is not on the football field. So I mean, any defense is going to get winded if they're on the field that much. So giving the defense a pass, Trubisky just has to learn to you have to stay on the field, convert first downs, get points on the board in whatever way you can. Like the Bears they're a mess right now. I definitely think they're done this year.
It's crazy how just the problems at quarterback, just the entire team's falling apart. Even on the defensive side, where you'd think it has nothing to do with quarterback, but it really does. It hurts them significantly.
It's scary because, I mean, I'm glad you touched on it because, the both of us really hyped up the Bears this year, as did a lot of people. I don't think that was like just straight out of left field. Like, a lot of people had hype for the Bears and that defense this year. I think I hyped up Mitch Trubisky a little more than most. I really expected him to maybe take the next step.
I said he's taken the step so many times. You knew a little bit more than I did, though. I kept pushing in the early power rankings like, oh, Bears at 6, and you're like, I don't know about that. Like, I mean, maybe like 11.
I need to see it first.
I was even higher on them than you were.
Yeah. So it sucks. I hate being wrong, especially that wrong, but that's definitely probably like my coldest take of the year so far. At least like preseason prediction, as far as like preseason predictions are concerned. But yeah,
who saw this coming though?
Yeah, it's a shame. I feel bad for Bears fans because, again, a team that had a lot of hope going into the season. No real significant injuries, no like Big Ben type injuries like losing the franchise quarterback. Everybody's there, the defense is there and healthy, just same as last year, and it's just not even close to the same offense, not even close to the same team. So the double doink really took a hit to Matt Nagy and the Bears, I think.
True, we did forget to touch on that. They need a kicker too. It's not just quarterback. You guys need two.
Yeah. All right, so want to transition again. So that's enough ranting about the Bears. I'm glad I remembered that though, because I wanted to talk about that after last week's game where they just looked terrible against Philly. But so kind of scrolling through the matchups here again. So I already talked about Rams and Steelers a little bit. I like the Steelers are at home, so I always have some hope for the Steelers when they match up at home. Brandon Cooks is out for the Rams. That's another injury, but I don't think he's as significant as some of those other names we touched on. Rams offense, Cooper Kupp's been the guy.
We lost footage.
All right, guys, sorry about that. So that was our weekly camera issue. So we're back now. So as I was saying, kind of looking through these other matchups for Week 10. Already kind of touched on the Rams and Steelers games. So Rams are going to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. I always kind of have some hope in my Steelers when they match up at home. They usually play much better at home in Heinz Field. But kind of like I said, I don't think the offense is going to be able to keep up. Yes, Brandon Cooks is out for the Rams, but he really hasn't been as significant as some of those other injured wide receivers that we touched on. Cooper Kupp's really been the guy for that offense as far as the receivers are concerned. So I think the Rams will probably take that one, but definitely think it could potentially be a good game. But at least for my sake, for my sanity, I hope it's a good game and they don't get blown out of the water after they gave me some life after beating the Colts last week. So we'll see. They keep it close. Season's still alive. I'm not too worried about this Rams game. But the two games I really want to get into to kind of close out the podcast. Wow. Close out the segment. Vikings-Cowboys Sunday night. and then Seahawks 49ers Monday night. So the Monday night game we didn't touch on at all, but I just want to go over Cowboys Vikings a little bit first.
Premier NFC matchups.
Yeah, so I love these two matchups. All four teams playoff bound right now if you look at the playoff picture.
Absolutely.
Vikings, Seattle in the wild card have the 2 wild card spots. Dallas leading the NFC East by a game against Philly. 49ers, we all know, only undefeated team left in the NFL. So 4 high caliber NFC teams going at it in prime time. Vikings are hot, even though they lost to the Chiefs led by Matt Moore. Dallas is also hot, coming off kind of like just reviving their team after that ugly loss to the Jets a few weeks ago, coming back and handling the Giants last Monday night. So what do you make of this first matchup here? Vikings-Cowboys, I mean, in Dallas, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Adam Thielen injury. What do you make of it? I mean, do you think the Vikings stand a chance here? Because that Dallas defense is legit, in my opinion. So if they try to kind of run the ball with Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins struggles. I mean, it could be a rough one for Dallas or for Minnesota.
Yeah, I think this is a Cowboys game. I think they get the win here. Last week we saw Damian Williams have a great game against the Vikings run defense. So I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to feast.
Zeke maybe breaks away for a big one.
Yeah,
like Damian Williams.
I think he really gets this offense rolling, opens things up for Dak like he usually does, and I think it's going to be high scoring. Kirk Cousins is going to keep up, but in the end, the Cowboys are going to pull out just because they got a better running back. They got, I don't know. I just think they're going to win at home, especially.
Dak or Kirk?
Ooh, that is tough. I will go Dak because I think he has heart. I don't think Kirk does. That's it.
He's just a robot out there.
Talent-wise, I mean, it's close, but if I would take Dak in an instant.
I think I would take Dak. I mean, he's not my favorite starting quarterback in the NFL right now, but Kirk Cousins also isn't even close to that list or like the top of that list. So I mean,
quarterback one mentality. Dak has it. Kirk doesn't.
I'll agree with that take 100%. I mean, yeah, you have Zeke there as well. Dalvin and Zeke, I think, are very even. So I'm excited about the running back matchup there. Amari Cooper, I think, is better than Diggs. Amari Cooper, again, him and Thielen maybe a little more even, but Thielen's out. Amari Cooper is healthy, and he's going to be playing. So, yeah, I like the matchup a lot. I'm probably going to take Dallas as home as well in this one. I think it'll be close. I definitely do. Not sure about the high-scoring aspect of it because the Vikings defense also isn't too bad. So, yeah, I really... Now I'm second-guessing myself a little bit, but
Cowboys are taking it.
I'll probably stick with Dallas.
Seahawks 49ers. I think I'm more excited for this one.
Oh, I 100% agree.
49ers first loss.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Russell Wilson has just been on a tear, and I mean Seattle's defense has kind of been slacking, almost giving up too many points to Jameis Winston and the Bucs. That Bucs offense isn't too bad if Jameis just doesn't turn the ball over 100 times. So I won't diss them too much for that, but. Yeah, Seattle offense over 49ers offense any day of the week, I think. And yeah, matchups of the defenses. Niners defense is legit, though. Nick Bosa, Rookie of the Year, most likely.
Defensive Player of the Year, possibly.
Richard Sherman in that conversation as well at corner. So, I mean, I think the 49ers defense definitely outranks Seattle's defense, but it's going to be a great game. I definitely think it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be close. Don't think it's going to be a shootout. Again, I don't think it's going to be too much of a high-scoring game, but definitely a defensive battle. But I think if it's a defensive battle, you got to take the better quarterback when you're making the pick. So give me Russell Wilson and the Seahawks.
I didn't check, but I'm assuming this might be the first game we see Josh Gordon play for the Seahawks.
He's been practicing this week, so I think he's going to be good to go on Monday.
So something to keep an eye on there, but Russell Wilson's been unstoppable. The 49ers are a special team. They get it done. They're just so well run. They know what they're doing, but it's going to come down to Russell Wilson, and he's unstoppable.
For sure. I don't hate it, so I'm excited. Definitely like the two primetime matchups this week are definitely my two favorite. So I want to wrap it up there unless you have any other matchups you want to go over before we get into upsets.
No, I'm not seeing a ton jumping out of me, honestly, besides those primetime matchups at the end.
A couple ugly ones, Bills, Browns, Ravens, Bengals, Dolphins, Colts. Like, there's always those couple in there every single week. So, again, let's get into the upsets. So last week we touched on in the beginning. We were 2-0 last week, picking our AFC North teams to upset their opponents. So this week I'll give you the floor since I think I went first last week. So What are you looking at this week for your upset?
All right. Well, thank you to the Baltimore Ravens. I put all my confidence in you guys, and you took down the Patriots. So we're back on track here with the upsets of the week. And I don't like a lot of these games.
Neither do I. That's why I give you the floor first.
Jets, Giants. Okay, who cares? Cardinals, Buccaneers. Who cares? So I'm gonna go with the Browns at Bills because record-wise, this is a significant upset. Yep. This is in Cleveland, and we saw last week if you score on the Bills they're going to have a very hard time trying to catch up and win the game. So I think the Browns have one of their better weeks so far this year, and they put up points early against the Bills, and it's just going to be tough for Josh Allen to come back. So Browns, they're going to get, I think, their 3rd win of the season here against the Buffalo Bills. Upset of the week. Bills are extremely overrated. Great team, just not all the way there, especially quarterback-wise. So upset of the week. We're going for 2 in a row. Browns over the Bills.
All right,
Sorry for taking yours.
You're fine. You're going to help me with this one, though, because this was my backup. Cardinals Bucks. Who's the underdog in that game?
I was looking at that's exactly what I was saying. I was like, who's the underdog? Same with Jets Giants. I was like, I don't even know if I can call the Jets the underdog. Underdog, I would go Buccaneers.
Okay, never mind. Because I was going to say, if you said Cardinals, I was going to go with the Cardinals because I think they probably are the underdogs in that matchup.
I don't know.
But since you like the Cardinals, I mean, it's very even, so I don't like doing very even matchups anyway.
I'm too high on the Cardinals, that's why. Sorry.
I'm going to go with the Panthers. I know I just literally hyped up the Packers saying Aaron Rodgers can maybe turn it around. But, I mean, again, looking at these other matchups, I think that's definitely an upset game, but one that I think the Panthers have a decent shot at actually pulling off. So give me the Panthers. Again, Kyle Allen not blowing anybody away, but Christian McCaffrey is. Offense is ridiculous revolving around that guy. Packers kind of struggled last week. I still think Aaron Rodgers is going to turn it around, so I'm not like just dissing my last take altogether. I think Aaron Rodgers still has a good game, so I can maybe see a potential shootout here. Neither defenses are really blowing anybody away. Green Bay's defense has kind of struggled in recent weeks. They were amazing the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, but last few weeks kind of struggling. Give me Carolina. I'm fine with that upset. I'm confident in that one after you took my Browns pick. So
yeah, that was my honestly backup game. I was looking at that one too. I like it. Halfway through the season, and I said it week 4. I think Christian McCaffrey is the MVP.
He's in there. I don't think you can take it away from Russell Wilson after last week though. But right now, definitely, I think in the top 2. I mean, I think Rodgers took a big step down after last week. I think Deshaun Watson might be in the conversation as well. Texans have a bye this week though, so we don't get to see any more of him. But yeah, anything else to add here before we wrap it up?
No, just when you got a guy like McCaffrey, you can beat any team.
Absolutely.
Let's keep the ball rolling.
For sure. So, yeah, guys, that's where we'll wrap it up. Kind of a short-ish episode this week, right around a half an hour. So thank you guys for sticking with us. Week 10, a lot of great games we're all looking forward to here. So be sure to just subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're doing these videos every single week. Links in the description for the power rankings that I also update every single week, as well as just social media accounts and our website for Heated Sports. So be sure to check it out and have a great week. See you guys.